Hey, how's it going there today? It is Monday, March 29th, and this is Steve and Steve's Sports Lounge. Wanted to talk about drafting quarterbacks in the first round. Of course, with the Atlanta Falcons, there has been much conversation about whether the Atlanta Falcons should draft a quarterback, whether it's at number 4 or even if we trade back and luck up and get something at number 8 or beyond. And the argument has been whether it makes sense to have Matt Ryan, who is going to be your day one starter for 2021, start and have such a valuable draft pick sit for a period of time behind him. If history has taught us, is taught us that many quarterbacks that are thrust into that position early don't succeed as quickly. Many times you've heard us talk about the examples of how Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson are probably the only two quarterbacks in the last decade or so to start for their team from day one and have success from day one. Both of those quarterbacks made the playoffs, and both of those went on to winning careers. I say winning careers because obviously Matt Ryan has not done as well the last 3 years as a starting quarterback on the team. Russell Wilson has basically been to the playoffs every year, except once or maybe twice since he's been with Seattle. Most other quarterbacks take their lumps the first year. Most other quarterbacks usually don't have a veteran quarterback to kind of show them how to be an NFL quarterback, whether it be how they work out, how they watch from the sidelines and see how they are with NFL defenses, or just how to be a professional quarterback. To me, it seems like the ideal situation. If you're going to invest in the future of the Atlanta Falcons, which I think this next regime will, it would behoove them to look at this number 4 position where you have at least 4, and in some experts' eyes, 5 quarterbacks that may be able to translate their college talent into starting quarterback roles someday. With that amount of talent right now at the top of the draft, it would be imperative, in my opinion, for the Falcons to go out and try to see if one of those guys fits the future mold of what you want this offense to be. Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot, barring some catastrophic collapse to where you're 0-16 for 2 years or 3 years, are going to be here for a while. And if I'm Arthur Smith, I have to weigh the pros and cons of trying to tweak the team, as the last regime tried to tweak the team, and whether I should look at some semblance of saying, okay, we know we have Matt here for 1, possibly 2 years, but what harm is it going to be to bring in somebody else who may learn how to run this offense the way Arthur Smith wants it designed? Now, Matt may have success right off the bat, and that's great if he does. We all win as Falcon fans. But look at the upside. Let's say on one side, Matt Ryan comes back, Arthur Smith does all the tweaks and turns he needs to do, turns this into a playoff team, even going into next year. As shown before in Kansas City, and as shown before, even last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick, you can still start that quarterback, yet be able to bring somebody else in and maybe take it a notch higher. There is no rule that says you must start a number 1 draft pick day 1 of the upcoming season. For us to figure that out, you have to go back and look at some of the old school NFL quarterbacks. When we start talking about Joe Montana, when you start talking about even Drew Brees, when you start talking about, I just had him on my mind. Daniel Jones recently. All those guys had to sit on the bench first before they were able to get their first snap. Is there some type of imaginary timeline that a first round pick, if he's picked number 5, that means he starts day 1? Justin Herbert did not start the year for Los Angeles Chargers. By injury, he ended up getting in there, and now we see that he's going to be great. So why not take a chance on young talent? And I'm not really stuck on who the name is, whether it be, let's just know that Trevor Lawrence is not going to be there, whether it be Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or shoot, even Matt Jones. To be able to take a chance on a future quarterback is not disabling what you're trying to accomplish for later on. If anything, you have a security blanket. On the other hand of the scenario, let's say Matt Ryan falters again for the 4th year in a row. Or, better than falter, the team around him doesn't respond. Then you have another option to go to. Sometimes with a team, it's just a matter of stirring it up a little bit. It's no reflection on Matt Ryan, who has done just about everything in his power to make this team as good as it can. It's not his fault that maybe there are some skills that have eroded, but sometimes in an organization, you need to switch things up a little bit. So I'm on record to say, I think the Falcons take a chance and reach out and get that quarterback at number 4. I'm not jumping off any bandwagons if they don't, but in my opinion, that's the move to make. I'm Steve here on Steve's Sports Lounge. Stay tuned. We'll bring you some more vignettes as quick as possible. You take care.